Good morning. This is Ed from Rosinheart.com, and I'm giving a little tip here on removing rosin from the parchment paper, which when I first started doing it was actually quite a challenge. It took me a long time to develop a technique that I felt was workable in almost every situation. Now, to begin with, I freeze the rosin as soon as it is pressed. So within 10 minutes of the rosin being pressed, it goes into the freezer for several hours. Then I remove it from the freezer to scrape it, but I have found my personal experience with the rosin that I press at about 200 degrees, that a rosin actually comes off the paper a lot better after the paper has warmed up. So I usually leave the paper out at room temperature for about 20 minutes at least before I start doing scraping. Now, one thing I want you to know right off about scraping is you don't scrape. I have found this particular tool to be ideal. It is a little miniature kind of spatula, I would call it. But you really don't scrape. You act more like a painter with a paintbrush. In other words, for one thing, always pull the paper taut when you're working with it. And get a little tiny bit, which may require a little bit of scraping, to get the first bit of rosin onto your tool. Once you have some rosin on your tool, then it becomes more of a picking up motion. So you gently go across and you get the rosin actually to stick onto the rosin that is on the tool. Once you do that, you can get pretty clean pickup as you're seeing here. This was a 2-gram pressing actually of some LSD, and it is picking up very, very nicely. Now, another tip I want to give you is if when you start scraping it starts smearing, back off. You don't want to smear the stuff on the paper. Let the temperature change, maybe change the temperature of your tool. Because once the smearing starts, you can literally end up with stuff smeared on the paper that you can't get off. So remember, like a paintbrush, you're picking up, you're gently touching the rosin, and you're doing a pickup motion, not a scraping motion. And when you do it that way, it works beautifully. So that's your little rosin tip for the day from Ed. Have a great smoke, whatever you're smoking, and keep watching for more rosin pressing tips.